Marmellohh around 6,000 MMR and Owen around 6,000 MMR here. $200 on the line for this best of 7 as Marmellohh is going to open up with Blinks. He's got Crusaders and Shockers. Strong combo. As Owen has got a very interesting combo. He's got Destroyers and those are the Swift Shockers, right?
Yeah, the Swift Shockers. I really feel like these things are blast, by the way. Like, they're a little scary to play against Blink because if Blink can just blink forward and target them down, they can be dead very quickly. But I do think it's going to be interesting to see what we can how those fights break out, because if they're protected properly by the Scorpions, they can trade very well against the Blinks. And he has the Destroyers to deal with Crusaders, which I would say is probably the bigger issue for kind of if he played like the Swift Shocker style. So we'll see how that goes as Blinks do find a Scorpion up top.
Yep. But you have to be careful because Scorpions are now looking for a wraparound. Obviously the Blink guys can just still blink their way out of trouble. You really don't want to lose any of the Blink guys against Scorpion early because Scorpions are cheap, Blinkers are expensive. Both players going for 2-base Foundry as we've got Crusader, Shocker once more against Destroyer and Swift Shocker. This is going to be fun. I have no idea how these battles are going to go on. I kind of feel like it comes down to micro. I feel like both players can absolutely win this and it will just come down to micro and who takes the better fights.
A couple Blinks need to be careful of those Scorpions. We do get a few Blinks around that right side. They're going to go after a couple of different workers.
Would have loved to see Marmellohh stick around for like another second, and I think she could have gone down 2 more workers there.
Yep.
And Natural was in trouble now, man. Oh, that's just so many Scorpions. I feel like if the Scorpions at this point should just commit and try to kill as many workers as possible, and that is exactly what Owen is going to do. This is a difficult fight for Marmellohh as her economy will be hurting for a little while. Strong start here by the Challenger.
Yep, those Blinky boys are going to come back over, and they are now going to clean up the entire natural mineral line gone. I mean, that is just so expensive. I mean, it's just you're down at full base, right? And so now anything that you try and build is going to, be way less than what your opponent can build. And we do go for the Swift Shockers. They're fast. They speed across the map. I honestly think they're going to be able to do pretty okay against these Blinks.
Yep, I don't want to see the Blinks fight before the Crusaders show up. This is not a fight for Marmellohh at all. Marmellohh a little bit indecisive there. Now her units are going to show up and the Crusaders are going to be very tanky. Her Shockers are going to get a couple of great shots. Now she did try to make that play with the Blinkers, but they've already lost so many Blinkies.
Yeah, well, the Blinks haven't gone down so quickly. This could have looked very differently. Shockers do not actually go too well against the Swift Shockers. So you got to be careful there. So the Crusaders are great because they're so tanky, but if we just introduce a couple of Destroyers, I know they're kind of slow, but they will just melt the Crusaders in comparison, and then I think you're okay. The thing is, you're probably okay anyway because of the income difference, because that natural is only just now starting to mine again from ARM.
I'm going to talk about audio again, but can we please appreciate the sound of Swift Shockers shooting?
Yeah, that's so good. It's so satisfying, right?
I love it, mate. There's so many great audio segments in this game, and I absolutely love the animation of the Swift Shockers. One more Crusader is going to fall. Marmellohh in trouble. She does have her workers back now, so it's 2 base against 2 base. But obviously the supply does not lie. 25 against 78 as Marmellohh fires up tier 3 Foundry, trying to get some advanced Blinks. I don't know if that's the right play when you're already this far down in supply.
Yeah, I think it's I think honestly, like the unit composition she has available is fine. It's just she lost too many Blinks to kind of support, right? And yeah, obviously that meant that the fight was then going to be very rough for her. Now just going to end up being overwhelmed. I don't think any further tech, like you say, is going to save you here. The Scorpions even diving on top of Shockers. Swift Shockers are putting in the work, and it looks as though we are going to have a game 1 in favor of, once again, the Challengers.
Yep, I mean, we have 3 final Crusaders, but 1 base, it's not really going to make a difference. Even if we can now make a couple of advanced Blinks, we don't have the money for it anymore. 1-0 lead for Owen. A game where I do feel like there was some potential for Marmellohh. I would have loved to see her stick around 1 more second in the natural, because he was in a really good spot there. Did a great job in sneaking a couple of Blinky boys to the natural for her opponent. And she was on top of the workers. She got 1. I think she could have gotten 3 without losing a single blinker. And then maybe that fight in the center of the map, if we didn't lose the Blinks by themselves, if we would have just waited a little bit until the Crusaders showed up, until the 1 or 2 Shockers of Marmellohh showed up, that fight could have gone a lot better for her.
Just one of those moments you mentioned that it could come down to micro, and I think that's what it was. Just ended up taking the fight or caught in the fight a moment too soon. And it could have gone something different, because again, when the Swift Shockers are hitting the Crusaders, like, they take so long to kill it, and in that time the Blinks could absolutely put some work in on the Swift Shockers. So yeah, absolutely a way in which a difference can be made. And I don't even know if we need to necessarily, like, change the composition versus just kind of coming through here and doing things a little bit differently in terms of how the fights go.
I totally agree. I think we can try it once more and just try to clean it up. Felt like it was a tiny bit of panic as well, right? When the blinks were getting surrounded and we kind of moved commanding them a little bit, and they didn't necessarily run directly towards the reinforcements that were well on the way. Let's see what round 2 will bring, as Owen has taken the 1-0 lead. Marmellohh is going to completely switch it up, and no longer playing with Blink. We're going for recallers instead.
Yeah, so she switches it straight away, which I do like the recalls against the Scorpions. The Swift Shockers will honestly still trade well against them, but yeah, interesting to kind of just go. We see this kind of recall Scorpion combination. You saw it yesterday with Vibe, I think, as well, and I just don't know if recalls really need something to sit in front of them and shoot, you know?
Yeah, I feel like they just grow stronger in strength and numbers, and you can also teleport all over the place. Well, it's obviously awkward, right? If you feel like you're taking a battle and then you want to recall out, but the Scorpions can't, so they're just committed. I agree with you. I mean, like, it doesn't hurt to have that option sometimes, maybe to deal with something that you need immediately if you need a tiny bit of a buffer. But I like the idea of not making too many Scorpions on Marmelloh's side. And so far, Marmelloh's not building a single Scorpion. And Seagulls for 2 base air. We've got Dragonflies, we've got airships. While the only anti-air that Owen is working with are those Blink Hunters, tier 1.
So that is going to be a question mark of whether those blinkers can be good enough. As do we get a single work here? We've got 1. We are just going to find 2.
3.
As we did not get anything on the left side. We got 3?
Yep.
Wow, we got 3.
Final hit of the Scorpion was good enough. That one Scorpion got 2 workers with its final 2 hits. So that was pretty good. But besides that, I don't hate it for Marmellohh. I kind of like where the game is going for her tech-wise. I think that the recallers are going to be fine. They will absolutely be able to hold their own for a little while. As long as you don't move out. Like, I don't know about run-bys. Once in a blue moon it can work out. But I kind of feel like at this point we just need to make sure that we don't lose any more workers. And make sure that our army grows bigger.
Recalls move up the right-hand side, as a few of them head in toward that natural expansion location. Two more recalls recalling onto the 3rd location as well, as we have the Scorpions going to dive in towards the natural. Obviously, recalls can at least recall across to deal with that, but recalls are going to kill workers quickly themselves. They're going to get quite a few in this natural. Need to keep target firing those. We're kind of busy, I guess, trying to deal with the harassment on the other side. But yeah, we are going to get quite a few workers, so good damage being done.
Lost how many at home? 5, 6. It's a shame that Dragonflies were kind of sleeping on the job there. They were there, but they were just a little bit too far towards the right. And that tiny core, the natural expand, to really help out. Overall, though, I still feel like there's a lot of potential in these Dragonflies. I don't hate it. We have a couple of Blink Hunters at home, but it's so difficult for the Blink Hunters to keep all 3 bases safe. As Owen is actually rallying a bunch of his Blink Hunters to the center of the map, thinking about taking a fight. I feel like there's so much potential here for Marmellohh.
She's going to target fight down one of those Swift Shockers that takes away some of the AoE already. The Dragonfly is going to just fly in on the other side. We'll see how much they can do. They kill off a few workers to begin with. The main army pushing forwards from Owen at the same time, though. We do have those Blink Hunters able to dispatch the Dragonflies fairly quickly, as the Dragonflies in the main are causing troubles, as they are still getting workers and still fighting the Blink Hunters, but Mountain now may be overwhelmed. As Marmellohh does hold in the center of the map, though.
Yes, he took a great fight on the ground. And at this point, I actually don't know if a couple of Swift Shockers are really going to save you. Maybe just pure recallers. Maybe Marmellohh can even fire up, tier 3 air. Why the hell not? Let's go Cat Boss. This is actually a great game by Marmellohh so far, as Owen is just having a difficult time getting his units in all the right places. Some of these butterflies still being a proper nuisance, and Marmellohh takes out the center base. So it's 3 bases against 2 and an army supply advantage for Marmellohh. Playing very well.
He can't turn the fight, but he decided just to recall out and just go back home. We have the Capus on the way, a base expansion lead. We have no reason to do anything crazy. We still have the Dragonflies available too. They fly back in. They're going to get a bunch more workers, and they will just continue to get so much done.
Fantastic Dragonfly play by Marmellohh. Very, very impressive multitasking here. Still taking good fights. We are going to recall temporarily back, as we are just waiting for tier 3 to be able. We're not going to get that in time, so we're just going to have to battle here with the recallers, but that's fine. They can absolutely hold their own. Even against the Swift Shockers, they're really not that bad, as these Dragonflies have almost wiped out every single worker in the main body. There's like, well, what is that? 7 workers remaining. Marmelloh's got this.
Yeah, I think so. She's I mean, obviously already up a base, never mind the fact the main isn't mine, and now Kappas are on the way across the map. These Kappas, they are fast, they pack a punch. They're going to be great, as these Dragonflies just trying to be as annoying as possible, kill any worker that you can before they go down. And now we just push onto the natural, which probably doesn't live through this.
We've got 6 Cat Boss on the map. I mean, Cat Boss is so good. If we talk about Falcons being good against tier 1 anti-air, Cat Boss are also incredibly good Maybe one cat boss will fall, but I doubt even that's going to happen because that forward blink means that the recallers get a great fight against the blink hunters. And just like that, it is Marmellohh who ties things up in the second game. Well done, he played really well, especially the multitasking with the dragonflies was just excellent. He really just got the best of Owen there in the speed department and attacking at multiple bases at once. And that tiny run by with the recallers that I thought was maybe not needed, unnecessary, was actually pretty damn good too.
Yeah, worked out lovely. Kept the economy of the opponent down pretty much all the way throughout. Very nicely done. Let's we'll wait for game 3 and see if there's any more changes, because obviously Marmellohh made a pretty big change on a deck from game 1 to game 2, so let's see if there's any switches on the other side, or if Marmelloh's happy to also stick on her own side as well.
I'm a bit of a cat boss believer, by the way. I was watching Tasteless play this morning, and he said, Rotti, before you say anything, I want you to know that this is a cat boss stream. And every single game, Tasteless went up to cat boss, and he kept on winning, man. Like, he was dominating with the cat boss. It was actually very fun to watch.
That's funny.
Yep, never thought that
This is pretty good, man.
that Tasteless would be a cat boss enjoyer, but he was loving it and he was playing well. And he just kept on winning, won like 5-6 games in a row.
It's so sick. Cat versus OP, man. Alright. Well, we get to go into game number 3 here, Marmellohh versus Owen. And head ourselves into this next game. See whether or not, well, to see who's going to take the lead, because obviously Owen had the lead. Marmellohh is very convincing in this game number 2, though.
Yeah. Yeah, if I was a Marmellohh, I would play with the recall once more. He seems pretty comfortable with them. They are good. They skill so incredibly well. It's not one of these tier 1 units where at one point you just don't want to make them anymore because they don't contribute anything. I feel like there are very few scenarios where I look at the recallers and I'm like, yeah, they're useless. Like, they're so good against almost everything. Obviously, they really suck against mortars. But yeah, once you have to worry about mortars, you have to worry about a lot of things.
That's very true. Is looking pretty similar then in terms of what we have available to us, at least for the early stages. As we have our first recalls popping out and set to go.
Curious to see where Owen is going to go. Owen could technically play 3 bases with Scorpion as an opening and then just spam some airships. Perhaps we can turn this into an airship against airship battle. I kind of feel like this is one of these games, looking at these 2 decks, where you do kind of want to wait and see what your opponent decides to tech into.
Yeah, if one guy's side goes there and you don't go air yourself, then you're kind of reliant on blink hunters and so on. I mean, if Marmellohh goes ground tag, if she goes foundry, she has no anti-air, right? So
she cannot possibly make
that
that choice, right? She cannot go ground before her opponent has made a decision. As we do have a Scorpion run by the way. Workers are going to come online in 5 seconds. We're going to have to recall. Scorpions maybe a tiny bit early here. They were just there a split second too early, Waddy.
Yeah, tempting to sit around and wait, but obviously recalls can just recall, and so sure, you force them back, but you lose the Scorpion nearly too. Not exactly ideal, but obviously far from the worst thing in the world as we continue to set up around into the center.
So if you're Owen here, you just spam airships, right? You just go. It's going to be harder because Marmellohh is the one who's going to go up to 3 bases quicker. That's obviously something you can do. What Owen could try to do is sacrifice a couple of Scorpions and try to kill a lot of workers. Maybe get on top of the 3rd base as well. But the Scorpions do need to do something right, because if it just comes down to pure airship against airship, it's going to go Marmelloh's way.
Yep, there's these recalls that you do recall back to field. The Scorpions maybe could have jumped on that and fought a little bit. Scorpions hitting a base. And the recall's getting 3 shots off again. Owen is just getting a little bit caught up trying to, I guess, control different sets of units, but it's just not going that well for him, and he's going to lose all of these Scorpions for basically nothing gained.
3 workers, yeah, that's nowhere near enough. I mean, sure, we did some damage to the center base, but that's not much. And now we're thinking about sending it on 2-base airship, but that's not going to cut it either. Marmellohh, if Marmellohh just makes pure airship here, I think she's absolutely cooking and she's in total control of the game. She's waiting right now. She didn't want to build the wrong units accidentally. Now you know that your opponent's got a bunch of airships, and it's time for Marmellohh to go full airship as well. And I think she can actually save this base. If we just recall everything to the center and we wait for our airships to show up, I think we're fine. There's no need for Marmellohh to lose this base, and she won't.
Yeah, didn't even have to recall that. Just walked across. A couple of airships going to try and go around that left-hand side as well. Not airships, sorry, the butterflies, right?
Yeah, it's good.
So
they can actually
around the left.
They can maybe make up for the economic deficit that Owen is currently working with, but the fight in the center is not going to go Owen's way at all. So now you really hope that your butterflies go to town on all these workers. Recallers don't help. It's a great play. It's an absolutely fantastic play here with these 3 butterflies. Gives Owen some hope, but because besides this, everything was a disaster.
Marmellohh is responding very badly to this. She made airships, but she sent them the wrong way, so they went out onto the map, and so she's lost everything. Apart from what, like 8 workers in the main base survive, 1 work on the natural. Obviously does have the 3rd base economy, and that's a big benefit, but that's a lot of mining now missing. And currently, Owen is going to be richer.
Yep, Owen has a few more butterflies. I would not really use those in the straight up fight. I would just once more go for the surround. Or maybe we go right click on the base. Owen just wants to take out the base, but I don't think he's got the damage for it. Owen, if you would have waited a tiny bit longer, my friend, I think you would have had way more airships. And then maybe you could have just gone for the all-out airship against airship battle. This was not the moment to go. And now I think Owen has lost any sort of momentum that he built. And I think that's game.
I think so too, as airships continue across. Scorpions chased away. As you have a couple of airships here from Owen, but he's going to be outnumbered. He makes a couple of blink hunters, but the recalls are coming. Those recalls are going to crush the ground fight, that much is for sure. And they are going to have a very good time again.
Oh, Owen, you killed so many workers. Why not wait for like 30-40 seconds, try to get some very good value out of that, or even like the full 55 seconds right before those workers are done, and then you take that fight, and then you try to overrun the 3rd base of Marmellohh. It was very silly because you were still making an investment in all those butterflies. They're not cheap, and they were absolutely worth the investment. But if you just immediately attack afterwards, you didn't even get any value out of the fact that you killed all those workers, because Marmellohh was the one who had the airship lead.
Yep. Absolutely. It's just, you gotta just kind of play to your advantage. Like, it's well, like you say, it's well and good killing the workers, but those workers, you know, you've still had money mining until the workers died, right? So you've got a full minute where every second of that minute, it gets better and better for you because those workers are dead and you are mining more, and hence you're building more. I'm with you with just waiting a little bit before we send it.
I think if he takes the full 55 seconds of having that full 2 base against 1 base and 8 workers in the main, I actually think Owen could have had a few more airships than Marmellohh. Fight could have gone his way. Instead, it is a 3-1 lead for Marmellohh, who's now on match point, 1 map away from winning 150 buckies. And actually, for the first time today, Waddy, the cast racers are taking the lead over the challengers.
Yeah. Taking the lead. Beautiful stuff. Love to see it. Let's get into game 4 here. And we have no changes to the decks again, I believe.
Wait, is Marmellohh 2-1 up?
It's 2-1, right?
Oh, damn it. Did I just hallucinate a victory for her? Was that game 2 victory so impressive that I thought it was 3-1 already?
I think so. Yeah, she lost first and then she's played recalls now 3rd time.
Alright, I am a donkey then. Sorry, guys. But we have still taken the lead for the first time today. 2-1.
Yes. Well, Inti had a lead.
I know, but we were down an entire series.
Okay, yeah.
In that way,
I see what you mean. Yeah. Okay.
Scorpions versus Ricalis once more. Previous game, Owen showed up a tiny bit too early. If he would have showed up like 2 seconds later, there's actually a good chance that even if we lose our Scorpions, we get 3-4 workers. Would have been worth it. Now we lost 2 for nothing. That was obviously not the play.
It was not, as the Scorpions are sitting on this left-hand side. Gonna kill him attacking through. I'm gonna show up and run into this natural. Well, the recall's gonna recall back, and honestly, I think this is great for the recalls. Let the Scorpions run in, let them lose a couple of their numbers. Yeah. It doesn't cost you anything.
I wonder if there was a moment there where Owen could have just commit and be okay with losing all the Scorpions if you get 6-7 workers in the return. I don't know. It's a close call, but maybe it would have been worth it. It is again 2 base against 2 base. It is a Star Forge attack for both players, and once more, it is going to be a slightly quicker 3rd base on the side of Marmellohh, but this time the 3rd base of Owen is very quick as well. So are we just embracing nothing? But I mean, technically Owen could maybe help out a little bit, right? Because he does have blink hunters on the ground. If you make too many of them, what if you lose the airship battle, or what if you just get blasted by Ricalis?
Gotta be super careful, as the Scorpions were trying to counterattack, but they decided to turn back around. The recalls done some damage on this base and gonna get Owen a little bit worried. Here are the airships though, time to recall out. We lose nothing again from Marmellohh. And again, she waits to see what her opponent builds and decides, cool, you're going airships, I'm going airships.
And defender's
and then they come and she's gonna have more of them.
Yeah, defender's advantage is very, very big. Marmellohh absolutely has a few more. This might be a good moment to send your airships away. If you're Owen, Owen does not send them away. Takes a decent fight, but now he doesn't have anything to deal with the airships of Marmellohh. I kind of feel like that's a moment where if you see you have less airships, to just send your airships away.
I mean, you just can't lose the airship. Well, we talked about it being, you know, Phoenix versus Phoenix, but double down for any StarCraft viewers. I mean, this is very much so the case where once you fall behind on airships, it's going to be very difficult to ever catch up unless you gain some kind of an economic advantage, which even then it's going to be tough. And Marmellohh here is just going to give up her recalls to get this base. She wants it, she'll get it, and she will recall out as well with quite a few of them.
Yep. Pretty damn good trade for Marmellohh, who's looking incredibly good in the best of 7. Owen has reinforced with a lot of Scorpions. He's maybe thinking of a big Scorpion run by. Obviously, Marmellohh can still build some recallers if she wants to. Airship numbers absolutely favor Marmellohh for the caster races. Things are looking good. No new third base yet, even though Marmelloh's a tiny bit out of position here. We can just recall home and defend our natural. If she's paying attention, though, Wardy. If she's paying attention.
Yeah, the Scorpion's actually going to start doing a lot. Finally, we decide to recall. Airship battle here needs to be careful. I think Marmellohh will still just about have enough, but she will be facing reinforcements as well. And now, because she's not target firing, she's losing a little bit of the edge that she had. Okay, she actually had more airships in the back hitting the Scorpions. That's why she was busy, but she does lose all the money on her natural. So for now, the economy, the income will be evened out for the next minute.
Yeah, but he does still have that base. One airship shows up, gets a double kill immediately, as the 2 remaining airships of Marmellohh were very low in HP. But I do think we have enough recallers on the ground here to deal with all these low HP Scorpions. And even if we don't, we can make some extra airships.
They're not attacking. Okay, they finally started attacking. They were on move command for a moment, so that was kind of scary. The Scorpions were getting a lot of damage done, but recall's out of trouble, and we reset, and now we're looking good.
Yep, looking more than good. I'm afraid for Owen that he is running out of steam. After losing the third base, deciding not to rebuild it. Obviously, then you need to find a very big victory in the near future. And he found a lot of workers in the natural of Marmellohh, but that victory is not good enough to really turn this around. We lost the airship battle, and it's Marmellohh who now actually takes the 3-1 lead in this best of 7. Because apparently I was hallucinating a victory earlier. Well done. I mean, it feels like he has a good read on how to play against Owen at this point. We just play recallers, we expand, we wait, and we match what they do, but we do it of a stronger economy, or we are just convinced that the recallers are going to do well on the ground against Scorpions. And if you don't lose too many workers, they absolutely do.
I think it's definitely time for Owen to figure out his switch up, right? This is not the time to keep doing the same thing, because he's just getting a little bit outplayed doing the same thing the last couple games now.
Yeah. Maybe there was a moment where at home when we were battling and we had that Scorpion run by, that if you pull your airships back just a little bit further and you build 1 or 2 more, that then the airship battle could have tipped in his favor. But he was still down at base, even if he killed the workers. I mean, that means that for a minute it's even, but then you still need to find 400 at 400 to tie things up. And obviously he was not able to do it. So match point for Marmellohh versus Owen. Let's see. Has Owen switched it up, or is it going to be more of the same? Oh, yes, switched it up, Wardy.
Just into blink though, right? So feeling like the Scorpions are not really doing it against the recalls, which I can kind of agree with. I think Scorpions struggle against recalls because once recalls get a good number, Scorpions they're dying before they can even begin to surround, you know? So I kind of like the switch to blink. Interesting that the rest of this is going to be very similar. We'll see what tech they go for going into the tech timings.
Yep. I feel like with blink you can absolutely play 3 base against 3 base against the recallers and then make up your mind. Maybe I don't know if I love the combination of destroyers and swift shockers. I feel like it's a bit odd, but let's see. I technically like it for Marmellohh more. If we're both playing 3 base and we both go foundry, maybe Owen should once more try to go 3 base air and rely on those butterflies. We cannot ignore how incredibly successful those butterflies were. Even if we lost that game, they were amazing in bringing it back. You gotta be careful, you cannot lose any blinks for free.
Yeah, blinks are fragile. You have to keep them alive. They really do also have power in numbers, just as the recalls do. And obviously have a little bit more micro potential in any individual fight than a recall. And come in here, be able to obviously should be blinking back there. You should not be losing any of these blinks. As the recalls actually like that fight enough that they stick around, but I think it's actually time to recall back.
Yeah, I think now it's time for Marmellohh to go home. You have to always survive that 1 or 2 seconds as well. They're both waiting. They are both waiting. What are we gonna do? All right, it's Owen in the end who does decide to go foundry. And Marmellohh, what is he spending her money on? She goes air again. So dragonflies and airships will be available to Marmellohh.
Oh, just gonna get a good fight again. Blink's taking way too much damage. That's bad. Having to blink away from your third base and now letting this third base take damage is very sad, because now we just kill the third base and we recall out. I don't think there's ever a world you don't just finish this off. Yep,
Owen's micro just not really cutting it there. I think we could have done a tiny bit better in keeping a couple of the blinks alive, but Marmellohh takes a fantastic fight. Owen obviously helping her a little bit in that regard, and now Owen is just in so much trouble. We're still not even winning the fight. It's 3 bases against 2, and we are still losing on the ground against the recallers. I mean, everyone has these moments as the white flag will just get waved. I mean, we are just too far behind. GG gets called. It's Marmellohh who fell 0-1 down, who turns in the round and wins 4 games in a row with the recallers. Well done.